It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of October 19th, 2001. We got 5 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. We have a lot to get to, and let's begin with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Johnny Depp and Heather Graham in the horror film From Hell.
Usual crime. Just the way she was done, Inspector. Hope to give her a different grade of killing. Conventional detective. This was all in your dreams. I saw her face. Unexpected attraction.
Your vision's about me.
Most definitely. Johnny Depp, Heather Graham, Hughes Brothers film. Jack the Ripper's not finished. A legend. I gave birth to the 20th century. Emerges. You're not going to see the 20th century. From Hell. Rated R. October 19th. Only in theaters.
So after 5 ritualistic murders are committed in 1888 London, Inspector Abilene, played by Johnny Depp, is brought in to investigate the Jack the Ripper murders. Along with a string of mutilated prostitutes, he uncovers a conspiracy involving the government. So this is based off the graphic novel of the same name by Alan Moore, and of course this is based on the Jack the Ripper murders. You have Heather Graham as Mary Kelly, a prostitute that's targeted by the Ripper. You also have Ian Holm, Robbie Coltrane, Ian Richardson, and Jason Fleming in the cast as well. And this was also directed by the Hughes brothers, who gave us Menace to Society and Dead Presidents. And I would say this is definitely up there with some of their higher movies overall. It's an overall very good film. It has a nice visual style to it. The horror aspects, I think, are very good. You can see the production value going into full swing here. My only real complaint about the movie is the script overall. I mean, the script overall, once you figure out, once you get a good glimpse of the characters and you get where they're going, you can kind of figure out which direction this is going to go. And it's not necessarily great, but I've seen much worse. I mean, it's not the worst adaptation that Alan Moore's graphic novels have had. I mean, wait until we get to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in a couple of years, but this right here is it's a decent movie. It's a movie that works beneficially mostly with the visual aspect and the casting of the 2 leads, Johnny Depp and Heather Graham, as well as the horror aspects. Everything else, though, is just kind of middling. I mean, you expect a whole lot more from it, especially with a story like this, the Jack the Ripper murders. This should be very compelling on so many levels, but sadly it isn't. Like, the script, I think, needed one more good rewrite in order for it to really come to life in general. But as it is, it's fine for what it is. Could have been a lot better, should have been a lot better, but certainly isn't one of the worst things that has been done to an Alan Moore book. I mean, I guess that's the best thing I can say about that one, but that is From Hell. So let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is Drew Barrymore in Riding in Cars with Boys.
Tell my parents about this. I can't even talk to them about the weather.
Welcome to Beverly's Life.
Pretend that I'm your parents. Mom. Pop. Yeah? I'm pregnant. My daughter's a tramp. I wish that you were never born. Okay, go.
It's a love story. I love you.
What are you talking about?
What? It's a comedy.
All right, everybody smile, please. Just everybody stand still.
It's a boy.
I didn't have a boy. I had a girl.
He had a boy, so he's gonna grow up and be just like me.
From director Penny Marshall comes the story of a girl
It got in my mouth.
whose dreams took an unexpected turn.
All life is 4 or 5 big days that change everything.
Columbia Pictures invites you to take the journey
I'm crazy proud of you.
of a lifetime. Drew Barrymore,
You look beautiful, Mommy.
Riding in Cars with Boys, rated PG-13. Opens everywhere October 19th.
Based off of a book of the same name, Drew Barrymore plays the woman in this that actually wrote the book. She's a woman who's overcome difficulties, including being a teenage mother, and who later earned a master's degree, and spans between 1961 and 1986, with a cast that includes Steve Zahn, Whitney Murphy, James Woods, Lorraine Bracco. It was the last movie directed by Penny Marshall, and I don't know. It's a movie that's very odd. Like, it's a movie that I should like. It's got a lot of good performances overall. It's a Penny Marshall movie. I mean, that's my bread and butter right there. I like those type of movies. And I like Drew Barrymore. I like Steve Zahn. I like Whitney Murphy. I like James Woods. They're all very good actors. But the trailer really gives away a lot of what the movie's about. And when you actually see the film, it's just like, wow, there's literally nothing about this movie that I didn't know going into it. I mean, you can pretty much pinpoint everything that's going to happen right from the get-go, and it's not that engaging, it's not that interesting, and it should be. I mean, everybody here has tried their best, and it tries a little bit too hard to try to go to terms of endearment in many aspects, which, not to the point of that movie in particular, but it's definitely a very mixed bag of a film. It's a film that I think, it's not a bad movie per se. It's a movie that's just kind of like, it's fine, but again, kind of like with From Hell, you expect so much more from where they were going with it, from the direction that you thought they were going to take it, and I don't know, maybe they were told to tone it down from the book, but I don't know. I should be more excited about this one, but unfortunately, I was just kind of like, not really that great either. Again, kind of like From Hell. Glad I saw it. Have no real intentions of ever watching it again. So that's Riding in Cars with Boys. On to the next movie, and that is The Last Castle.
Longer soldiers. Each one of you is nothing more than the shadow of a soldier.
They are prisoners. They've been murders. With one last chance.
The eagle he wears on his shoulder may make him an officer, but it doesn't give him the authority to take away who we are.
To become heroes again.
We are soldiers.
Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, Mark Ruffalo, and Delroy Lindo. The Last Castle. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 19th.
So The Last Castle stars Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, Mark Ruffalo, and Delroy Lindo, and portrays a struggle between inmates and the warden of a military prison based on the United States disciplinary barracks at Fort Leavenworth. A highly decorated U.S. Army lieutenant general, court-martialed and sentenced for insubordination, challenges the prison commandment. I'm out of shape right now. I'm out of it right now, if you can tell. But a colonel, Toyboat, over his treatment of the prisoners. After mobilizing the inmates, the former general leads an uprising aiming to seize control of the prison. So basically, the concept of the movie overall is that the inmates have to take over the penitentiary. I mean, the inmates are running the prison, is the quote I'm trying to say here. I've been sick the last couple of days, so that's why I've been kind of like, coming out of it, pausing more, trying to get my thoughts straight here. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to power through this one. Okay, so, anyway, this movie. Most notably about this movie, I remember, was that the poster for this movie, there was a poster where the American flag was turned upside down as a standard distress call. However, after 9/11, due to concerns about public sensitivity, they actually took that poster out of circulation, and it's become pretty much a rare poster. If you can find it somewhere, you can probably get a good massive price on it. It's online, selling online for eBay. But I digress. It's directed by Rod Laurie, who the last movie he directed was The Contender, which was not a bad movie, but certainly not a great movie either. It felt like a film that was just kind of like, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. And unfortunately, that's kind of what I have to say about this particular movie right here. It's just kind of like, there's probably a very good story in this movie, but despite the good actors that are involved in it, I don't think it's enough to really carry the film overall. I think it's a movie that's trying a little too hard to be kind of like the World War II equivalent to something like, The Shawshank Redemption or something like that. It felt like kind of that type of a story, and I think the performances overall are good. Robert Redford's really good, so is James Gandolfini, but kind of like with some of the other movies we talked about this week, the script overall is really the weakest link of the movie. It's not that it's bad, it's just kind of generic. And for a story like this, I feel like there could be so much more done with this, with a better story. If they had one more good rewrite, maybe they could have saved this movie overall. But like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just one that's just kind of like, It definitely could have been benefited from having another rewrite of the script in general to make it stand out more. But as it is, it's just fine for what it is. It's just kind of like, not the best, but not the worst either. So that's The Last Castle. So let's go ahead and move on to probably the best movie overall this week, and that is Richard Linklater's Waking Life.
It's like I'm being prepared for something.
I am a passenger. And I ride.
You a dreamer?
I ride through the city backsides.
So Richard Linklater directed this movie and wrote it with the animated film that has very unique animation to it. Explores a wide range of philosophical issues, including the nature of reality, dreams, and lucid dreams, consciousness, the meaning of life, free will, and existentialism. It centers around a young man who wanders through a succession of dreamlike realities where he encounters a series of people who engage in insightful philosophical discussions. And the film is basically rotoscoped, a technique that Richard Linklater would use for several other films down the road, including A Scanner Darkly, which I think he perfected it there, and Apollo 10.5, which I've yet to see yet, although I hear a lot of good things about that particular movie. It just came out recently. And that is the overall one particular thing about this movie that I'll say that's against it. The animation is good, but movies like A Scanner Darkly and Apollo 10.5, I think, perfected that much better. And yeah, this animation definitely pales in comparison to those two movies. I think the other two movies do it better, but for the time, it worked, and the writing overall is very good. It's Richard Linklater doing what Richard Linklater does best. A good cast overall, including people like Adam Goldberg, Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy, reprising their roles from Before Sunrise. Just a good cast overall here, and really, like I said, it's mostly just Richard Linklater doing what Richard Linklater does well, and the animation, the rotoscope animation looks very good, but like I said, done way better with A Scanner Darkly and Apollo 10.5. But for this particular film, very stylized, very unique, very well done story-wise. It's easily the best movie that we have this week, because our last movie that we have here is Dancing at the Blue Iguana. Yeah, I couldn't even find a trailer for this, but this was a notable film for a number of different reasons. One, the director Michael Radford did Il Postino, which was the last film featuring Marcello Mastroianni. And this is a film that's basically an erotic drama about the lives of strippers at a gentleman's club. And the strippers include Sandra Oh, Charlotte Ayana, Kristen Bauer, Daryl Hannah, Sheila Kelly, Elias Koteas is in the cast as well, so is Jennifer Tilly. And I only see like bits and pieces of the movie. And from what I saw from it, it's pretty good from what I saw from the little bits and pieces of it. I don't know if that takes up the advantage of the entire movie itself. I don't know if the rest of the movie itself is all that good, but from the little bits and pieces I've seen from it, there are some promising elements to it. I think the acting overall is very good. It isn't just a movie where it is just strictly, watching these beautiful women stripping for you. It's not that at all, but it's actually a very compelling story from the little bits and pieces I've seen from it. I kind of still need to see the whole movie in full to really get a full glimpse at it, but from the little bits I saw from it, I thought there was a lot of good stuff to it, but I don't know if that's going to stick with the rest of the movie once I actually see the rest of it, but like I said, it's a good movie. It's a good movie from the little bits and pieces that I've seen from it, so gotta check out the rest of it at some point, but well, I thought it was alright. So yeah, like I said, I've been dealing with a little bit of a cold the last couple of days, so that's why my voice is very different than usual. I'm getting better, though, but I thought I could get through this episode with no problems, but there was a lot of, bits where I had to pause it because I was about to sneeze or about to cough, but I'm good. I'm going to try to keep powering through these episodes until I just get to a point where I can't do it until I'm completely healthy, so apologies for that, but I'm going to power through these. But with that said, that's going to wrap this week's episode up. The next time we meet, we'll take a look at the movies that wrapped up October 2001, including K-Pax, the horror film 13 Ghosts, Snoop Dogg and Bones, two of the members of NSYNC and On the Line, and Jake Gyllenhaal and Donnie Darko. So 5 movies we'll look at next time, and hopefully that will be tomorrow, but if not, you'll understand why, because I've been sick the last couple of days. But thank you so much for watching. If you were able to get through this and enjoy it, and you want to see more like this, I advise you to hit the like and subscribe button, and check out the previous episode, check out the playlist on the next page, and I'll see you guys next time for the next episode. So until the next time I see you, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.